Welcome back everybody to our Intermediate and Advanced Civil 3D training video series. In the past 9 videos we have created our alignments, we've created our design ground profiles, we've created our existing ground profiles, we have created our knuckle and cul-de-sac curb returns, we've also created profiles for the existing and design ground there. We've created all the assemblies we would need and a few additional extra ones that we didn't end up using, but it's good to have regardless. And built a corridor, a residential subdivision corridor out of it, complete with all the tie-ins and the intersections and all the little bits. This video we are going to look at cleaning up some of the corridor areas. We still haven't fixed the intersection up here. We haven't fixed this intersection down here. We haven't added any vertical curves to our knuckles or our cul-de-sacs to make them nice smooth transitions and lining up the grades. So we haven't done any of those steps. And also if we have time, we're going to try and we're going to play with some additional targeting options in order to have our residential road and our primary collector line up for the sidewalk offsets and locate those sidewalks properly with we'll probably end up using feature lines for those. So to start off, I'm just going to adjust this corridor so it covers the extents of my intersection. And again, I'm just using the grips here. We could go to corridor properties and do it. It might work out a little bit faster through corridor properties, as there's not this little bit of a lag issue when we're dragging corridor pieces. Either way, as said before, is fine to do either way. So again, just using the grips, I'm going to find out where this one is. It's back here a ways. And I'm just snapping to endpoints right now. Shift right click to bring up your O-snaps. I tend to leave O-snaps off myself in my civil drawings because I don't want it snapping to surfaces. There's 1.5 million pieces of line work here for my corridor. I don't want it snapping to any of those objects just automatically. That tends to lag your Civil 3D and slow it down. So we have the second section here, stretched and extended. Again, quite a slow process. Unfortunately, I wish it could be faster, but we are moving some high geometry items. But once this is done, unless you've need to change your corridor or you need to change your intersection, you shouldn't have to drag them and adjust them anymore. So again, we did this in the previous video. We're just going to do it again quickly here, just for more practice. The thing with Civil 3D is practice, practice, practice. So I'm going to change these, the start and end stations again, and move the median back to the end of that bull nose. So I'm just going to adjust the end station for the road with the median. I'm going to insert a region after with that primary collector, no median. And then the last one, I'm going to change the start station because as we remember, the corridor goes along with the alignment direction and my alignment direction is from left to right. And then I'm going to insert a region before, which is again that primary collector, no median. And when I hit OK, rebuild, it should bring that corridor piece back to the end of the bull nose and insert the primary collector, no median, so we have just a flat road there. All right, I'm going to freeze off my corridors, my intersections. I'll probably freeze off the alignments and the markers as well. The less things I have turned on, the easier this next step will become. Now, purely just with experience in corridors and intersections, we're going to turn on triangles and we're going to fix up some of these triangles at the intersections. If you remember, we already did this southwest intersection. We haven't fixed the sidewalk area though yet, but we're going to go adjust the triangles on the right intersection now. So again, I'm going to select my surface, which is my complete design. expand surfaces, expand complete design, and expand definition. We can also do it through the ribbon up here as well. I'm going to right click edits, add line, and we can see here even more detail where the pieces are not connected properly. So just connecting the edge of asphalt lines, the bottom of the curb and gutter will help clean that up. And we can see here that the locations where they are not connected. And we can see that it better traces the curve when we add the triangles in. And then lastly, I'm going to go up to this intersection up here, the north one, and I'm going to close this off as well by adding these triangles in. And potentially we will have to do it on both sides. So just to finish that up. Now in this surface display here, the style that I am using, I have my triangles turned on, and I also have the points that are being used to build the surface. So under my edit surface style, I've got points turned on and triangles turned on. Now these are not Civil 3D Survey Kogo points. They're the points that are derived from the corridor, and they function similar to survey points. We can move them, we can adjust them, but they're not actual survey points. Now, if we remember from the corridor itself, we had one little bit, part of our corridor extending a little bit past. It's creating an additional triangle. It's creating additional points. Well, now we don't necessarily have to change the corridor itself. We could tell the corridor to target these two lines, but there's another way we can right click and delete a point. When we delete a point, Civil 3D will just recalculate the triangles and add in any additional locations. It looks like we can probably delete one here as well. So that's delete point. It recalculates the triangles. If we were to say delete a line, and I'm doing this just for an example, we're not going to stick with this, but it will make an actual hole in the surface. So if I go to Object Viewer, we can see where we deleted points, and we can see where we deleted the lines. Now if I zoom in on that intersection, the point deletion happened roughly in this area here, and the line deletion happened here. So now we have no surface definition. It won't be included in any volumes. It won't be included in any calculations. So don't delete lines unless it's, say, on the outside of a project like what we have here. So to get these back, we could look in the list of edits down here. So I'm under my complete design, I'm under edits, but these are in alphabetical order. They're not in order of operations. So the easiest way to check the operations of your surface is to right click Surface Properties under the Definition tab. And then what we have here, these are in the order that we have completed them in. So we started with pasting our surfaces in. We started adding lines to fix some of the intersections. We deleted the 2 points, and then we deleted those lines. I'm just going to right click on this and remove it from the definition. So again, right click, remove from definition, and we'll hit OK. OK and rebuild, and we will see those triangles come back. So I am going to, again, view this in 3D, and we're going to take a look at those intersections, and we're going to take a look at the majority of our surface and make sure it's a nice, smooth surface around the corners. There will be a few places like this where we have, like I said before, a rolled face joining to a straight face curb. We'll try and fix up our sidewalk connections. This is also exaggerated 10 times, so we do see the little bits of the triangles here. And rotate it around and take a look at it. Make sure everything is nicely connected. And I might turn off exaggeration, and we'll object viewer this again. We fixed some triangles in here. It looks like there's probably one more that we need to go take a look at. And we'll look at the intersection in the west or east. And it's the same straight face connection to the rolled curb. So let's look at that last triangle up here and see if we can figure out exactly where it is. It's right here. So you can see by the contours that they make a jog. And we can just again add another line and fix that location. All right, moving on to the next steps. we're going to actually need to turn our corridor back on. And right now, let's take our surface. We'll edit the surface style, and I'm going to turn off my points. I'll leave my points on. I'll turn my triangles off. Points don't get in the way of very much stuff. I'm going to use the command layer P, layer previous, so everything that I froze off is essentially going to be turned back on. Now, a couple things I want to check here is we're going to start trying to have the property line expanded out to match this property line. And to do that, we're going to check some corridor properties to begin with to make sure we can do those targeting. So I'm going to check just click through my corridor to find the right piece, the right curb return fillets right, and check the targets. And we should see on here that we have offset target of inside boulevard, offset target of sidewalk width, outside boulevard, and then we have target profile of slopes as well. So we can control the width. It does not look like we can control the elevation for these pieces. So if that's the case, I'm going to try it with a feature line. We'll try it with a feature line right now to try and make the pieces match up. And essentially what I want to do is in my city here, they like to chamfer the corners. So I'm going to draw just a poly line, maybe one of these days. Okay, we're going to try a 3D poly since it's not letting me snap. Okay, 3D poly works. Now 3D poly might not work for the chamfer command itself. We will give it a try, but essentially I'm going to connect my two roads here. We'll try a chamfer. And the distance of 4.5 meters on each side, whatever your city wants. So we're not able to do 3D polylines. That's a relatively simple fix. We can flatten them. And that should turn them into, nope, it leaves them as 3D polylines. So there is another command. It's under, we'll select both polylines. We'll look under grading, and it's under polyline utilities, convert 3D to 2D. Alternatively, probably exploding them will turn them into lines, but chamfer, the distances have stayed, so we will chamfer these two lines together. Now this is where I want my property line to target. All three of these are joined. Let's go ahead and make this a feature line. Now I do have a previous video on the usage of sites and how important sites are to help your drawing be more stable. If you want to go look that up, then you can see how we need to separate things into proper buckets of objects so they don't interfere with each other. So I'm going to create a feature line from an object, and it's going to be under the intersection site. I don't foresee anything overlapping here. So we're going to go to the intersection site. I'm going to make it a yellow color so we can differentiate it. And then I want to assign some elevations from my complete design. We can probably adjust the elevations of this afterward. So we're going to now go and target this feature line. So I'm going to select my corridor, right click, go back into corridor properties. Move this out of the way so I can see what I'm clicking on. And it was this one here. Scroll over to the right, select my target button, opens up the targeting window, and I want to change the offset target of outside boulevard width, and I want it to select a feature line or polyline, and it's going to be the C feature line intersection. I didn't name the feature line, so that's probably why we're seeing this window. So we'll name the feature line using the default template. Feature line feature 2. We should probably name our feature lines now that I see what we're doing here. With OK, we'll hit rebuild. And we see that the surface has now targeted out to this feature line. So I'm going to go into properties and I'm going to name this west intersection northwest property line. So when we make feature lines, we will definitely name them. Now it does the curve only. So we see right here that it's not targeting here because this piece is actually a different part of our corridor. So we can go to corridor properties and we can find that one exactly. So this one here. And if we wanted to modify our targets, it is the right, it will be the left sidewalk, sorry. Outside boulevard width. We can do a C feature line. We can choose our west intersection. Hit OK, hit OK, and rebuild, and it should bump that section out for us. Now I'm going to try and do the same thing with my sidewalks. So I'm again going to draw a polyline or a 3D polyline. Because I'm snapping to the corridor is why we have to use a 3D polyline. And then we will run the chamfer command again. However, it's going to be a little bit of a different kind of scenario. Maybe we won't use the chamfer command because we're going to want to have this sidewalk. So the sidewalk is right here. We're going to want to have it extend. Use the extension OSNAP. We're going to want to have it extend to the curb and gutter here. And basically the outside piece, we want it to match into up there. So I'm going to copy this 3D polyline, essentially just sketch things with polylines at this moment. And I'm going to cut this off right there. So I want this line to target that. Now, to make things a little bit easier, I might, actually this should work. We'll try it with what we have here. So grading, create feature lines from objects. On the site intersections, we'll make this one again yellow. Assign elevations from the complete design. And then I'm going to go and name this. So the name of this feature line will be, and try and match similar names, west intersection, northwest property line. We're going to make this west intersection, northwest outside sidewalk. So we're going to come back into corridor properties and again select the northwest part of the intersection here. We'll modify the targets and we want the offset target of sidewalk width line, I believe. We can change this afterwards if we need to. So I want the northwest outside sidewalk. Hit OK. We'll apply and rebuild and see if it modifies it. And it looks like it has done that. And we will hit OK for now. Now let's go and see if we can stretch this part of the sidewalk to where it needs to go. So I'm going to place this feature line here. And I'm going to copy this name beforehand just so we have it readily available. Grading, create feature lines from objects. Site intersections, name. Oh, we can actually name it while we make it. make it yellow. We'll assign elevations again. The reason I'm assigning elevations is if it does pull elevations from your surface and allow you to modify them. And maybe we'll give that a try after, and we'll try and change the elevations of this outside feature line. So I'm going to go back into corridor properties, and we'll again choose that curb return. And we will do the outside target of inside boulevard width. So we've set up this one, and now we're going to set up this one. The detail of the inside sidewalk, and we'll hit OK, OK, rebuild, and see if it has moved that. I'm going to bring this to the front, display order, bring to front, and see that our red lines have now been modified. Now let's take a quick look at Object Viewer, and I see there's going to be a little bit of bumpiness in our surface probably. And this is where we've done the work, and it is 10 times exaggerated, so it is causing some issues. Now, a better way to see this is we can go under our surface style, and right now I'm set to 0.5 and 0.1. I don't believe I have a surface style that is greater than that, so I'm going to make one. I will go into surface properties. I'm just make sure I don't. I have okay, I do have 0.1 and 0.002, so I'll select that one and click OK. Now we can see that there is a little bit of a jog here, mainly due to trying to, again, connect two different elevations together. And it doesn't look like the feature line controls any elevation in regards to the offsets. Now, if you wanted to actually control the elevations, what you might have to do is create an alignment and a profile to target. So we could target that alignment, we could target the profile, we can control the elevations that way. Although let's take one last check in our corridor properties. Under that target, we have elevation, we have width, and then target profile of slope for the sidewalk. So let's try and see if we can tell the sidewalk to follow that inner feature line for an elevation. Nope, it seems to have made it a little bit worse. So again, make an alignment, make a profile if you really want to control the elevations. We could come in here, and actually let's do that quickly and we'll wrap this video up. I'll get rid of the target profile of slope. We'll just turn it off and rebuild and modify it with triangles. We'll go into the surface style. We'll turn our triangles and our points on. Now remember, this is a different surface style, so we have to turn the points back on. I'm going to delete points, and I'm going to remove that offending one, and we'll see what the surface looks like. It's still a little bit bumpy. So remove a couple of those. It makes a nice-ish slope. There might be a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of tweaking and fixing in order to get exactly what you need. But to better handle it, like I said, make an alignment, make a profile for each of these pieces. Yes, it's a lot of extra work, but then you can actually control the elevations with the profile itself.